Welcome to Module 3, Perception and Learning, and I'm your instructor, Dr. Suci binti Hassan. We'll start with factor influencing perception. Number 1 is perceiver. Perceiver is the individual who makes the perception. Each individual is different, therefore the interpretation is different. Number 2 is target or object. Object or target are the item which we intend to make a perception on. Characteristic of the target or the object affect the perception. Number 3 is situation. This situation would be the context in which we see the object or experience the event. And then we move to perceptual distortion. Perceptual distortion, sometimes we call it shortcuts. We use shortcuts in the process of giving meaning to the event or thing around us. This shortcut hinders us from making and giving the correct meaning to the situation, hence creating perceptual distortion or distorting perception. The shortcuts are selective perception. We tend to notice only a few characteristics or things around us. This tendency to focus on a certain aspect while ignoring others is called selective perception. And then, halo effect. The halo effect is the tendency to draw a general impression based on a single characteristic. This is because the one characteristic overshadows the other characteristic. And then we move to similar to me effect. The similar to me effect or projection is the tendency for people to perceive others who are similar to themselves favorably as compared to individuals who are less similar. This would apply to similarities in work value as well as demographic variables such as age, gender, and race. And then, first impression errors. The first impression errors is the tendency for people to judge others based on their initial judgment of the individual in question. This error is also known as primary effect error. It has been recognized by physiologists that an interviewer's first impression of the candidate in a job interview session play a significant role in the interview. And then we have stereotypes. Stereotypes are assumptions that all members of a specific group behave in a similar way as they have the same characteristic. And then lastly we have contrast effect. The contrast effect is a scenario where we tend to evaluate and compare one situation or event to another similar situation or event that has happened before. This situation or event being used for comparison would be either better or worse compared to the situation or event being evaluated. And lastly, we move to impact of learning to an organization. Manager must understand and must be able to manage perception process. The decision making based on perception would result in bias and decisions, and this would lead to dissatisfaction among employees. And number 3 is failure to avoid the dissatisfaction would lead to less productivity, which would later hinder the profitability of the organization. That's all for Module 3. Thank you.